challenges be solved by made in Nigeria solutions.
President Muhammadu Buhari tasks National Economic Summit Group on proposals to unlock potentials for Nigeria's economic growth. Extraordinary meeting of the Federal Executive Council pips into 2020 budget proposal ahead of formal presentation to the National Assembly on Tuesday.
The result of our efforts will foster better cooperation in addressing the challenges of maritime security in the Gulf of Guinea.
G19 Global Maritime Security Conference opens in Abuja. Attention focuses on insecurity in the Gulf of Guinea. And the air component of the Operation Hadarin Daji resumes light kinetic operations to advance pressure on bandits. Good evening and welcome to NTA Network News. I am Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. Jennifer Igwe joins me from Lagos. The Nigerian Economic Summit Group has been tasked to furnish the government with productive, inventive, and innovative proposals towards unlocking the nation's potentials for sustainable growth and development of the economy. President Muhammadu Buhari, who through the challenge expressed the belief that Nigeria's unique challenges can only be addressed by homegrown solutions. The president was speaking at the opening of the 25th Nigerian Economic Summit in Abuja with the theme Nigeria 2015 Shifting Gears. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports.
A significant proportion of Nigeria's prosperity today is concentrated in the hands of a few people.
This, as President Muhammadu Buhari says, means that nearly 150 million Nigerians are in a state of expectancy and hope for better opportunity to thrive, a situation that drives the prevailing migratory and security trends. To address this, the president explains that in the last 4 years, his administration's economic policies focused on the need to not only lift the poor and the disadvantaged, but also encourage inclusivity and collective prosperity.
Nigeria's unique challenges can only be solved by made in Nigeria solutions. As a government, our view is to equip our citizens with the means to seize any opportunities that may arise. This means we will continue investment in education, healthcare, infrastructure, security, and strengthen and entrench the rule of law.
This year's summit, which coincides with the 25th anniversary of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group, focuses on what Nigeria would be in the year 2050 when the estimated population of the country will hit 400 million. The president described as pleasing that the group has identified agriculture, manufacturing, ICT, creative and extractive industries as key job-creating sectors of focus.
We very much look forward to our continued collaboration with the private sector in designing and implementing development projects that will keep Nigeria on track for sustained, inclusive, and prosperity-driven growth. A prosperous society is one where a majority of its citizens have an acceptable standard of living and a decent quality of life.
The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, is optimistic that with comprehensive targeted reforms, tough decisions, and radical shift in the current culture, including attitudes towards taxes and public finance, a future where no one is left behind is achievable in Nigeria.
I'm confident that this engagement will be very rewarding and productive. The outcomes, I believe, will set Nigeria on the path of becoming a globally competitive economy consistent with the objective of the ERGP, in which growth is not only competitive but also inclusive and sustainable, and in which we, as the giant of Africa, will lead the way in terms of innovation, industrialization, human capital in the continent and also beyond.
With participants drawn from the public, private, and social sectors, politics, civil society, the academia, as well as the international community, the summit seeks to create a unified narrative for setting a long-term national agenda for sustainable development of Nigeria's economy. In Abuja, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
On the sidelines of the Economic Summit Group, Leah Katumba Batunde examines some factors such as industrialization, education, and human capital development that is central to addressing population increase in the country.
It is countdown to the fourth industrial revolution. Globalization 4.0. It is the current and developing environment in which disruptive technologies and trends such as blockchain, artificial intelligence, and augmented reality will dictate the pace of development among nations. The demographics is a source of concern for the Nigerian government. Population growth is about 2%, while the last GDP figures show a 1.94% increase. In the next 30 years, a large number of young adults would be in the employment market, and so the need to plan ahead is key.
You might talk about religion, you might talk about policies that separate us. There are things that are common to us in Nigeria. Every Nigerian wants to live healthy.
At the 25th Nigeria Economic Summit, the message is clear. Nigeria will have to spot opportunities for technological development or be left behind.
Our latent asset are young people and our women. When we develop that strategy, we must cover that inclusiveness so that every one of us is put to work for this nation to achieve the goals that we set for 2050.
The investment in education, whether it is out-of-school children, whether it's the girl child, in my view, a massive program of basic education is at the heart of what we will have to do in order to make progress.
To trigger the trade revolution that we require, it must trigger three other revolutions. It must trigger an agricultural revolution, it must trigger an industrial revolution, and it must trigger an infrastructure revolution.
The group is seeking a private sector-led economy with government providing the ideal environment. In Abuja, Leah Katumba Batunde, NTA News.
All is now set for the presentation of the 2020 appropriation bill to a joint session of the National Assembly by President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday. This followed the conclusion of an extraordinary meeting of the Federal Executive Council on the nation's financial document. State House correspondent Adam Musambo reports that the meeting presided over by President Buhari considered and approved the general principles of the appropriation bill. Details of their discussions were, however, not made public. Presidential spokesman Femi Adesina confirmed to journalists off-camera that the Federal Executive Council examined the entire budget proposals to be presented to the National Assembly for consideration. As at the time of filing this report, it is not clear whether the different proposals by the Executive and the Legislature regarding the actual size of the 2020 budget have been harmonized. The Executive had proposed 10.07 trillion naira as the size of the budget. Lawmakers increased the figure to 10.729 trillion naira while approving the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. As President Muhammadu Buhari prepares to present the 2020 appropriation bill before a joint session of the National Assembly on Tuesday, Senate President Ahmad Lawan and Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila are reassuring Nigerians that the era of delays in budget passage is gone. The two presiding officers of the National Assembly stated this while speaking to NTA News after a consultative engagement with President Muhammadu Buhari on the scheduled budget presentation. They say lawmakers are not only ready to receive the budget, but are also prepared to process and pass it in good time for possible presidential assent before the end of the year.
We believe that there has to be a change for the better. We have to have a cycle that is useful to the public and private interests in this country. The implementation of the budget is key. If you start implementing a budget in good time in January, for example, we would have the whole of the 12 calendar months. And of course, businesses in this country and outside who have interest in Nigeria would prefer to have a budget cycle that coincides with the kind of financial year that they operate.
And we got the confidence of the president that we will have cooperation between the two arms. I think it's going to be smooth sailing. The budget is a blueprint. That's what it is. It's a blueprint of the economy. And that's exactly what the country is going to get. A very good blueprint. It's a 10 trillion naira budget. And it's a budget that will touch the lives of practically everybody, every segment of the society.
State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports that the parliamentary leaders also discussed with the president his recent engagement in South Africa, describing it as a worthwhile undertaking.
And steps he has taken in order to ensure that Nigerians are protected in South Africa and indeed anywhere in the world. Nigeria has provided leadership. Mr. President has done very, very well by taking these measures and steps he did on that issue.
What is to be expected is obviously a more mutually beneficial relationship between the two countries. They look at the bilateral agreements, and I think the South African government, not the people, is very remorseful. I think, like the SP said, the president did. He took the bull by the horn. He took leadership, took control, and I believe this is the first time that both countries are together in a bilateral fashion on the heels of what happened in terms of the xenophobia incidents, to fashion out a way forward. Concrete terms, concrete agreements were reached, and I believe that that's going to be the last of such xenophobic attacks.
The new relationship that is geared towards unity of purpose among the executive and the legislative arms of government is beginning to deepen. The Progressive Governors Forum, during a meeting with the leadership of the National Assembly, described the renewed relationship as an inevitable for a sustainable national development. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Unko reports.
Arrival of members of the Progressive Governors Forum to the conference hall of the President of the Senate for what could best be described as a family meeting. It is part of bridge building across the three arms of government by the group, significant for the Forum's Committee on Legislative Programs, led by former Speaker House of Representatives and Katsina State Governor Bello Masari. The National Assembly has severally indicated its resolve to have a working relationship with the executive, especially the presidency. The state governors want such gesture extended beyond the federal level as they assure the National Assembly of being on the same page with President Muhammadu Buhari.
And to appreciate the leadership of the National Assembly under both the chairman and the deputy chairman.
When we can remember that President Muhammadu Buhari constantly reminded us about our responsibilities in providing leadership.
The two presiding officers of the National Assembly, in company of the other principal officers, reassured the governors of their undivided determination to ensure effective service delivery to Nigerians, especially through mutual cooperation.
We intend to remain very resolute. We intend to remain very loyal to the party and the principles the party stands for. We intend to remain committed and dedicated to Nigerian ideals of making sure that Nigeria provides all the necessary services to citizens.
As in the House of Representatives, we have adopted a theme, nation building, joint task.
This visit is coming less than 24 hours to the presentation of the 2019 budget to the National Assembly by President Muhammadu Buhari, an indication that the federal government is working in synergy with the federating units. Meanwhile, the Senate Committee on Communications has screened Adeleke Adewolu as nominee for Executive Commissioner of the Nigerian Communications Commission. The committee will now present its report at plenary for consideration and confirmation. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Unko, NTN News.
Still at the National Assembly, the House of Representatives is investigating non-remittance of contributions to the Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund by public and private organizations. National Assembly correspondent Laimi Ali has details.
The Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund, NSITF, is an offshoot of the Employers' Compensation Act signed into law in 2010 to make provisions for compensation to workers in the events of disability, accident, injury, disease or death. Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, represented at the investigative hearing by the Majority Leader Alhassan Adodogwa, said The Parliament is set to ensure that the rights of workers are respected and their interests protected.
Failure to comply with the requirement of the law in this matter is an act of sabotage against the interest of the Nigerian worker, and that is not something we can accept as a parliament.
We must begin to show more compassion towards the fate of our workers, especially in their weakest moments. We must remember that the whole idea behind NSITF was to ensure that workers were not abandoned during the most vulnerable period of their lives when they could no longer look after themselves or their families.
Government establishments, as the hearing, furnished the committee with information on challenges on ground concerning remittance of contributions to NSITF.
Public awareness of the scheme has been relatively low, stemming mainly from confusion between the scheme and the pension scheme.
The budget office, and they determine every other allocation that is made. That template has no provision for NSITF. So it's not possible for any agency, or let me speak for myself, it's not possible for NAIT to be able to make provisions for this contribution.
Some private sector establishments brought documents to show evidence of remittance and were directed by the committee to reconcile such claims with the fund. In another development, the House of Representatives Committee on Commercialization and Privatization, headed by Representative Mohammed Gulu, has held its inaugural sitting and expressed concern over non-performance of some privatized public organizations and vowed to look into the situation for remedy. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
It's more news on the economy. On the news tonight, Mupla Kok is here with details on businesses. Welcome, Mupla.
Thank you very much, Kudu. We'll begin by also talking about other issues from the ongoing Nigerian Economic Summit, where an economic expert says developing lasting solutions to Nigeria's technological problems is the surest way of bridging the existing gap between Nigeria and developed nations. Speaking on the sidelines of the 25th Nigeria Economic Summit, Chairman of the NESG, Asue Ighodalo, says there has to be an understanding that technology is at the heart of the next industrial revolution.
Everybody's into robotics, everybody's into high-tech issues and high technology, cutting-edge technology, and we can't continue at the pace we're at. So we need to have a long-term plan that's faithfully adhered to and that's faithfully implemented. Everybody needs to buy into regardless of your political affiliations. So we need to have a national consensus. Everybody needs to agree that this is where we are, this is where we want to get to, this is how we're going to get there in the shortest, quickest, and safest possible time, so we need to buy into it.
And as Nigeria's population continues to increase, policymakers are seeking ways to formulate policies for a more viable population management towards proper management of resources for economic growth. Chairman of the Planning and Research Committee of the National Population Commission, Ejike Eze, at a survey on population, says government is strengthening policies in view of the fact that accurate demographic data is pivotal to effective utilization of available resources for sustainable national development.
For providing demographic data for planning purposes, the National Population Commission is by this change preparing to conduct a survey that will collect data on infants and child mortality to assist policymakers plan and formulate policies for the health sector in relation to maternal and child health in Nigeria.
The National Bureau of Statistics was one of the collaborating agencies that participated in the VASA 2014 and shall contribute a quota to ensure that VASA 2019.
And talking stocks, the equities market closed today on a negative note as the NSE All-Share Index depreciated by 0.45% to close at 26,866.41 points as against 0.36%. recorded on Friday's trading session. Market turnover closed positive as volume moved up by 9.24% as against 8.15% downtick recorded in the previous session. Market breadth closed negative as UACN led 16 gainers, while Seplat, Nestle and Stanbic were the losers of the day. FCMB, Transcorp and FBNH were the most active to boost market turnover as FCMB recorded as many as 5.5 million shares. And time now for some messages. We'll be back shortly.
This used to be me. But that was before I got the perfect bag. It's handy and easy to use. All I need is one compact space, just like my MTN Extra Value plan. I used to get one plan for my calls and then try to remember which data plan worked for me. Roaming was a totally different ballgame. Not anymore. I've got the MTN Extra Value all-in-one plan. If you're a data buff like me, you get extra data with some talk time. And if you like to make calls, you get extra talk time with some data. And when I'm abroad, I automatically browse, chat, and call right on the main plan. MTN Extra Value was made just for me.
More of data or calls, whichever one you prefer. MTN Extra Value is made just for you.
Hello. Hi, Jenny. Can you supply 1,000 bottles of juice by noon?
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks, dear. Bye.
Hello? Jenny. Auntie, please, I need a loan. Hurry up! Hello?
Not been reached.
Clean that up! Clean that up! The order is on the way.
Are you an entrepreneur looking for financing to grow your business? Here's good news. Development Bank of Nigeria now provides sustainable financing through commercial banks, microfinance banks, and other financial institutions with repayment terms of up to 10 years. Please do remember, paying back your loan in good time will give you access to more loans.
Development Bank of Nigeria. Financing sustainable growth.
The Nigerian Army wishes to inform the general public and all interested qualified candidates of the commencement of online registration for the 79th recruit intake for both trades and non-tradesmen and women. Interested candidates are advised to log on to the recruitment website https://recruitment.me.mil.ng to complete the online registration from 7th October to 29th November 2019. Applicants must be Nigerian by birth and possess a national identity card as well as other basic qualifications. On completion of training, all successful recruits will be prepared for induction into the Northeast Theatre of Operations. Applicants are also to note that Nigerian Army recruitment is free. Join the Nigerian Army and let us fight terrorism to restore Nigeria's glory and honor. Brigadier General Ayola Abuaba, Director of Army Recruitment, Resettlement and Reserve. Announcer.
Hey! Emeka, drive the limousine Bugatti, come inside now! Waiting below 200 naira recharge card.
Just 200 naira for one day, and you say fit follow win for the hundreds and hundreds of every prices like a can of pepper. Industrial sewing machine, grinding machine, and generator. No, my own done better.
My grinder will go win. Now here I go put up. I'm not going to check you now. I don't win generator. And here, now my oh.
The more you recharge, the more your chance, the better.
Unlimited. On behalf of the Governing Council, Management, and entire staff of Industrial Training Fund, I join millions of other well-wishers in rejoicing with His Excellency, Honorable Barrister Simon Bakulalong, over your victory at the Plateau State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal. Your victory did not come to us as a surprise. as it merely affirmed and validated the decision of the generality of Plateau people that voted for you en masse during the gubernatorial election. As you settle down for governance, I pray Almighty God to give you wisdom, long life, and good health as you steer the affairs of Plateau State. Congratulations, His Excellency, Right Honorable Barrister Simon Bakula Long. Congratulations, the people of Plateau State. Sir Joseph N. Reed, Director General, Chief Executive, Industrial Training Fund. Announcer.
Tectonic shifts are happening all around us. For Nigeria, the future is now. Join the discourse at the 25th Nigerian Economic Summit, themed Nigeria 2050, Shifting Gears, as we set a new agenda for Nigeria to mark a critical strategic shift to a competitive private sector economy by 2050 through a renewed focus on investment in human capital development to achieve competitiveness and inclusive growth. Date 7th to 8th of October 2019 at the Transcorp Hilton Hotel, Abuja. For more details, visit nestgroup.org/NES25 or follow our social media channels. The Silver Jubilee Nigerian Economic Summit is organized by the Nigerian Economic Summit.
The Honorable Minister of Education, Madam Adamu Kwelo, invites the general public to a 3-day national workshop on federal scholarship processes and implementation in Nigeria. Date 8 to 10th of October 2019. Venue, Main Auditorium, Merit House, Maitama, Abuja. Time 9 a.m. daily. Architect Soniti Echono, Permanent Secretary, Announcer.
Welcome to Adeleke University, a faith-based learning institution located in the serene and historic town of Ide, Osun State, Nigeria, running on the well-thought vision of its founding fathers to improve lives and society. The institution offers affordable and quality education. We are currently offering admission into our faculties of science, engineering, law, and art. We are also offering entry into the Faculty of Basic Medical Sciences and the Faculty of Business and Social Science. Our College of Postgraduate Studies offers you the chance to earn your master's and doctorate's degree in over 30 disciplines. For more inquiries, please visit www.adelikeuniversity.edu.ng. You can also call 0806 202021. Adeleke University, education, excellence, character.
Welcome back. Nigeria is leading African countries in the fight against maritime insecurity in the Gulf of Guinea. At the 2019 Global Maritime Security Conference in Abuja, key players advocate deeper global commitment to the deployment of resources towards ending insecurity in the region. Oina Kaluoka has the report.
Rising insecurity in the Gulf of Guinea has been identified as one of the major factors affecting the economy. In 2016, statistics from the International Maritime Bureau records about 53 piracy attacks in the region, representing about 28% worldwide attacks. Nigeria being the biggest economy in the region and accounting for about 65% of the cargo generated in the region, witnessed 58% of major maritime security incidences. In its efforts to safeguard the Gulf of Guinea by providing more security on the maritime, this event serves as a platform for participants from about 78 countries.
I firmly believe that the result of our efforts will foster better cooperation in addressing the challenges of maritime security in the Gulf of Guinea for the overall benefit of member states and the world at large.
Considering the security gains so far, the Nigerian Navy intends to consolidate current collaborative efforts, sustain fleet renewal, and expand its maritime awareness infrastructure.
Presenting President Muhammadu Buhari's message, Minister of State Foreign Affairs, Suberu Dada, said federal government has stepped up efforts in tackling the challenge, which is yielding results.
The IMB Piracy Reporting Center has recently reported, and I quote, a welcome and marked decrease in attacks in the Gulf of Guinea for the second quarter of 2019, particularly commending the Nigerian Navy for actively responding to reported incidents by dispatching patrol boats.
The International Maritime Organization, the African Union, and ECOWAS pledge continuous support in addressing the problem.
The Momentum created by this interest has awakened the zeal of the continent to pay more attention to its maritime domain.
The conference is expected to also look at the issue of cybersecurity threats. Oyinna Kaloka, NTA News.
Developing an effective strategic communication in military and paramilitary engagements to enhance internal security operations is the thrust of a 4-day security course holding in Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa now reports.
Nigeria, just like other developing nations, is currently facing different emerging security threats.
Nigeria has come under increasing security challenges in the last decade.
Collaborating this position, the military, with ongoing internal security operations in virtually all states of the Federation, stressed the need for collective responsibility involving the civil populace, the dominant force in the nation's population.
The Nigerian military, especially the Nigerian army, have contributed enormously in tackling the myriad of our national security challenges. Unfortunately, a large percentage of our population over time continue to arrogate national security concerns to only the military and the other security agencies.
The leadership in National Security Course, organized by the Nigerian Army Resource Center, Abuja, and the Peace Building Development Consult, is aimed at creating enhanced and unified working relation among security agencies and other actors to ensure proactive rather than reactive measures to threat.
The greatest security is that of food. You cannot rally the army to prevent food insecurity if you are lax in preparing ahead for it.
The Nigerian Army Resource Center is determined to provide research-based solutions to defense and security problems. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
The air component of the Operation Hadarin Daji has neutralized no fewer than 10 bandits at forests near Birnengwari and Janko Hill in Kaduna State. A statement by Air Commodore Ibikunle Daramola, Director, Public Relations and Information of the Nigerian Air Force, stated that the decision on the resumption of operation was taken in the wake of an attack on troops location at Sunke in Anka local government area of Zamfara State, as well as the increased migration of bandits towards the Birnengwari area of Kaduna State. The attack on the bandits was undertaken when a Nigerian Air Force helicopter on reconnaissance mission over Birnengwari area, general area, spotted several bandits at the location and engaged them with its guns, killing some of them. We now join Jennifer Igwe in Lagos for more on NTA Network News. Hello, Jennifer.
Thank you, Kudu, and welcome to Lagos. In line with the federal government's plan to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty, the Central Bank of Nigeria, in collaboration with the Bankers Committee, is set to turn around the National Art Theatre into a creative industry. Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele, during an assessment tour of the edifice in company of Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, said the initiative will have positive impact on the nation's GDP. Abolade Salami reports.
The National Art Theatre, primarily built for performing art in Nigeria, was completed in 1976 in preparation for the Festival of Arts and Culture, FESTAC, in 1977. For over 4 decades, the edifice, which has stood the test of time, is beginning to deteriorate for lack of adequate maintenance. It is against this background that the Central Bank of Nigeria, through its Creative Industry Financing Initiative, is coming on board to uplift the face of the theatre into a creative industry.
This place can stand any world-class convention center you can think about. It just needs a facelift, and we thank the Lagos government, thank the federal government, we thank Federal Ministry of Information and Culture for giving us the opportunity to come in here to develop it for the good of Nigeria and for the good of Nigerians.
The creative industry, which is expected to serve as a tourism destination, will also accommodate youths in the entertainment, fashion, and technology sectors.
Mr. President has been very gracious, to give the go-ahead and turn these dead assets into what will turn to an income-earning state of art-developed entertainment industry.
So it's not one bank, it's the entire institution working together with Lagos State Government, with Federal Ministry of Arts and Culture, all right, to ensure that we give grace to our country within the next 2 years.
Stakeholders emphasized on harnessing the potentials embedded in the industry for national development. Lagos, Abladi Salami, NTA News.
Now to security matters. The federal government's drive towards reprofessionalization of the armed forces and the mastery of military tactics and strategies for various operations underscores the relevance of the special boat services to the Nigerian Navy. The details were disclosed at the Basic Operating Capability Course 15 of 2019 in Lagos. Lin Lineke reports.
Personnel have undergone some of the best military training available and were equipped with efficient and effective tactical riverine operations, land warfare, as well as astrometric warfare under extreme conditions. Officers on ratings also displayed their mastery of counterterrorism, counterinsurgency, and amphibious operations, among others. Chairman House Committee Navy at the National Assembly, Alhaji Yusuf Adamu, pledged federal government's resolve to continually support and equip the armed forces to enable the officials address pockets of insecurity in the country.
Having engaged various private chiefs in Nigeria, still Nigerians that there is a need for increased funding to the Nigerian Security Institution for effective discharge of their responsibility.
The Nigerian Navy's Special Boat Services, introduced in 2006, is fashioned after the United States seal with a mandate to match modern-day threats.
The Nigerian Navy will continue a wide range of operations, to undertake a wide range of operations in the foreseeable future, including military aid to civil authorities, MACA, in terms of disaster relief and mitigation, as well as military aid to civil authority, including internal security operations, military operations other than war.
The Navy believes that to effectively cover the total maritime spectrum, extra capacity and capabilities are required for special operating forces. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
That's a contribution from Lagos. Network News continues after this timeout. Stay tuned.
Now what is it?
Emeka, I'm the limousine got to come inside now. Waiting below 200 naira recharge card for me.
Just recharge 200 naira for 1 day and you fit follow win for the hundreds and hundreds of prices like a can of pepper. Industrial sewing machine, grinding machine and generator. No, my own done better.
My grinder will go win. Now here I go put up. Make
Emeka no go recharge you now. I don't win generator and here now myself. Oh, the more you recharge, the more your chance the better.
Unlimited.
Start your day easier and happier with LG Inverter. Gain peace of mind with an efficient laundry cycle. Feel cooler air even at midday without any worries. Enjoy mealtime with food kept fresh all day long. The LG Inverter enriches your everyday life. Better inverter, LG Inverter.
Darling, what's the matter? It's your birthday. Guests are already waiting at the pool.
It's headache, cold, pains all over my body.
Cold Time Anti-Cold Tablet contains powerful ingredients specially prepared to bring you fast relief from headache, body ache, cough, flu, cold, and fever. Baby, how are you feeling now?
Wow, I feel great thanks to Cold Time Tablet.
Cold Time Tablet also available in syrup for children. Symptoms persist after 3 days. Consult your doctor. Cold Time Anti-Cold Tablet, a quality product from Embassy Pharmaceutical and Chemicals Limited. Cold Time Anti-Cold Tablet, your visa to help.
That ends the sermon. Now it's time to sow a seed of faith. We have envelopes there, ushers by the aisle. Give where you want to be blessed. There you go. Hello. What's your number?
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't give you my number.
Come on.
Yeah, I can.
Just put it in.
Make and receive payments with just phone number with Pay Attitude. To get started, dial *569# or download the Pay Attitude app or use the USSD code of Pay Attitude banks to enjoy seamless transactions.
It's for Pay Attitude. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can't be flirting in the house of the Lord. Repent! So, what's your number? Pay Attitude. Be all of you.
Confidence is important in life's little moments. Strong teeth can help, even if they get her into trouble sometimes. A great smile is useful to break the ice. And making friends is easier when you know you have fresh breath. I give my family confidence with Pepsodent's Triple Protection 123. It's toothpaste in one. Give them cavity protection, white teeth, and fresh breath. Confidence of 3 toothpaste in one. Pepsodent's Triple Protection 123.
When I'm on nights, so restless tissue makes my days worthless. I need to recharge energy. Get a full night's sleep with always Ultra. For static tissue and no competition. For super gel, long-lasting protection. Long days, I'm fearless. Here comes the boss lady, multitasking flawless. My kids will get the best. I'm a boss lady.
Always starting now with 250 Nairas. Stay happy always.
What we are really cultivating here is a better future for all Nigerian women, and it's not always easy. Panadol Extra relieves headache, backache, joint pain, toothache, and menstrual pain. The pain is worth it.
The Aerial Assurance Challenge.
Oh, thank you. But what assurance can you give our daughter?
Everything. With the new look Aerial, I can even do the laundry.
Prove it then.
Okay. Let's make this thing tougher. Now, let's wash the cloth. With your detergent and with new look Aerial. Do you believe me now? Aerial, now in a new look pack. Hey you! And now you want to talk to me? Sabi you now. It's in day mind of me. The person with them go help us. Baba Torosa, Shangado, Organic over, Mr. Sabi. And you know if we carry last with this one.
A spear into the top corner.
We Sabi say Peking will crawl before in waka. So don't look, no help anybody. No dolly, no. Go for him. Go for football. Go for Osorio on the Liga Marchings live. Go for Go TV Max.
Welcome back to our Abuja studios. The Theatre Command Operation Lafia Dole has handed over 25 children associated with Boko Haram insurgency to Borno State government for further reintegration into the society, facilitated by the UNICEF. Naomi Abuaku has more on that story.
The military came across the children in several counter-insurgency operations and handed them over to civil authority in line with the ongoing drive by Operation Lafia Dole to abide and sustain law protecting rights of children associated with armed conflicts. Major General Gabriel Adeniyi specifically pointed out that the focus is on protection and assisting the vulnerable groups who are mostly victims of the insurgency. Their rehabilitation and reintegration into the civil society, he noted, is an essential part of efforts in partnership with other stakeholders such as UNICEF in helping rebuild their lives. Major General Adeniyi gave assurance that the children have been adequately profiled and their engagement with the criminal elements ascertained as supportive and non-violent. Some of them are children whose parents were arrested for terrorist offenses. They were received by the Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Zuwaira Gambo, with a promise to ensure they are rehabilitated and reintegrated into the civil society. Borno State government is collaborating with UNICEF in the rehabilitation of the 23 boys and 2 girls with ages ranging from 8 to 15 years. In Maiduguri, Naomi Abuaku, NTV News.
Now join Abdullahi Mohammed in Kaduna to bring us more on Network News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us in Kaduna. President Muhammadu Buhari has tasked the newly commissioned flight cadets of the Nigerian Air Force to remain firm, resolute and innovative in their choice career so as to effect additional value in the national security architecture. The President stated these to the piping and commissioning of Nigerian Defence Academy 66 regular course, Nigerian Air Force in Kaduna. Suleiman Abdullahi Rugachukun reports.
It is homecoming for pilot officers Abdullah Abubakar Giri and Felicity Amakoye in camp. They are among the 111 commissioned cadets of the 66 regular course Air Force of the Nigerian Defence Academy. After their 4 years primary military and academic training in the academy, they also underwent additional training in different specialties to fit into air operations environment.
The training was very, very tedious. But we thank God, we made it this far.
My commitment to the career is for me to pursue the core values of Nigerian Air Force, which is the integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all you do.
President Muhammadu Buhari, represented by the Chief of Defence Staff General Gabriel Abami Olonishakin, commissioned the flight cadets into the Nigerian Air Force with a directive for them to breast up to the demanding task ahead.
You have to be frank in dealing with all situations with truthfulness and honesty, and work assiduously towards achieving organizational goals.
Family members unveiled new ranks of the pilot officers, while those with outstanding performance were honored with awards. Pilot officers Abdullah Abubakar Giri and Felicity Amakoye Nkem, alongside colleagues, will be deployed to various units of the Nigerian Air Force for more training and national service. In Kaduna, I am Suleiman Abdullahi Rachkun, NTA News.
Thank you, Suleiman. And to Jigawa State now, where the government has set up a committee to work out modalities for the implementation of the new national minimum wage from this month. Governor Muhammad Badr Abubakar disclosed these at an event to mark this year's World Teachers' Day in USA. Let's join Ibrahim Belogunda for the continuation of this report.
Addressing teachers of the state, Governor Muhammad Badr Abubakar said the committee comprising government and labor leaders will be in the interest of the two parties for smooth implementation of the new wage. He described education as the sector that will transform lives and change history of Jigawa State, hence the commitment of his administration to continue to commit more resources.
Jigawa State government has set our technical committee that will engage with your Joint Compensation Council to come up with the template. I assure you, we will implement in October.
Our teachers have to do the best of the cult, that they deliver and they teach and they inculcate the moral character of our students.
Teachers that distinguish themselves were rewarded with state and local government awards. From Duse, Ibrahim Belogunda, NTA News.
And from Jigawa, we link up with Kudu in Abuja for the continuation of Network News. Kudu, over to you.
Thank you, Abdullahi. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, is collaborating with the Nigerian Police Force for more effective execution of its mandate. Francis Form now reports.
A meeting of top police officials and that of the boards and management of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission will surely has one major thing to discuss: corruption. And that is exactly what happened at this visit to the police headquarters by the ICPC. Apart from perfecting strategies for more collaboration, the ICPC wants police support in focusing and deployment of armed personnel to secure their state's offices and workforce.
So if we have a few more special protection unit officers deployed, we can relieve the armed policemen to join our operations, which are on the increase. As the IB may be aware of, we're doing constituency project tracking, we're doing big ticket things that have a multiplier effect on ordinary Nigerians.
The Inspector General of Police,
who said both ICPC and the police need each other to remove the perception of corruption as it affects the police, directed the DIGs in charge of operations, criminal investigation, and the AIG intelligence to work closely with the ICPC to achieve their mandates.
Facilities are available for your use at any time. Any support that ICPC needs on the area of forensic should provide them 100%.
The visit ended with both parties appreciating the need for more work to further check corruption. In Abuja, Francis from NTA News.
Sport update is next after this break.
She picked the time, he picked the place. Now their eyes meet. But self-doubt stands between them. Can they break the barrier? With the freshness of antibacterial mouthwash formula in our best ever close-up toothpaste. Break the barrier. Move closer with confidence. Close-up deep action for 12 hours of fresh breath.
Indomitables game on Google Play Store. Search the Indomitables on Play Store and download now. Indomie noodles, tasty version, good for you.
You don't reach 50 years now. When that program, when they call Village Headmaster begin, none of the program now. That program when they run, go home, go look for my television.
I want to formally tender your apology to Headmaster Ali for causing him so much embarrassment.
And 50 years now. So because of that, we won't get big party. Me and my body invite you now, and my belly just is sweet. Because I don't say all those people they drink my pack. Then go come drink the tombo again. And me, radio jamebo, they call you now. They will not forget it.
Now you are talk to. Sabi you now. It's in day your mind, Abi. The person where they go help us. Baba Toros and Shangalo. Ogalekuva. Sabi. And you know if you relax for this one.
A spear into the
we still say the king will crawl before he waka. So don't look. No everybody. No dolly, no. So go for it. Go for football. Go for all Serie A and La Liga matches live. Go for GoTV Max.
Nigeria's Super Falcons failed to qualify for the Olympics for the second consecutive time after a draw with Cote d'Ivoire in Lagos. Gift George has this and more on Sports Update.
The Super Falcons of Nigeria went into the second round Tokyo 2020 qualifiers against their Ivorian counterparts, having played a goalless draw in the first leg in Abidjan. Nina Capo gave the Ivorians the lead